Tell me why this is the land of confusion. This is the world we... Oh, I'm sorry. You see, we're in Genesis. Thank you, Phil Collins. No, different Genesis. For our third lectionary reading for this week, Genesis 32. And it has nothing to do with invisible touch or sudia. Oh, anyway, underrated band. But here we go. Jacob has been running from his brother Esau, running from his uncle now, who cheated him, though he cheated him first. Talk about an opportunistic, kind of swindling, slippery, snake oil salesman of life. That's Jacob, right? His name means supplanter, one who's not very pleasant to deal with. So let's get to today's reading and see what it says about old Jake and where he's at in his life with God. That night, Genesis 32:2, Jacob got up and took his 2 wives, 2 female servants, and his 11 sons and crossed the ford of Jabbok. After he sent them across the stream, he sent over all of his possessions, so Jacob was left alone. And a man wrestled with him till daybreak. When the man saw he could not overpower him, he touched the socket of Jacob's hip, so that his hip was wrenched as he wrestled the man. And the man said, "Let go of me, for the dawn is coming." But Jacob replied, "I won't let you go unless you bless me." The man asked him, "What's your name?" "Jacob," he answered. The man said, "Your name will no longer be Jacob, but Israel, because you have struggled with God and with human beings, and have persevered." But he replied, "Jacob, tell me your name, please." The man said, "Why do you ask me my name?" And then he blessed him there. So Jacob called the place Peniel, saying, "It is because here I saw God face to face, and yet my life was spared." The sun rose above him as he passed Peniel, and he was limping because of his hip. So a couple of things to think about today as you hear this lectionary text. First of all, most of us operate in a fight or flight kind of life. Not through the mundane, ordinary, but have you ever felt like you're running from something? Maybe it's running from confronting a boss over a job you just hate. Maybe it's from something back in your past with your home life, confronting a parent, an abuse situation, a divorce, an estrangement, something you're ashamed of that you did, and you never went and said you were sorry, never came to terms with it. Joseph's done a lot of dirty, rotten, horrible things, no good things, to his brother, to his parents, and he's always gotten ahead. Nothing has touched his golden touch, but now, as he's on the edge of the river Jabbok looking into the water, he's looking at a person he barely recognizes, and he knows that his brother Esau is coming with 400 armed men to greet him in the morning. Last time Esau saw him, he wanted him dead. So Jacob sends everybody ahead and all these peace offerings to Esau to soften him up, to grovel, to humble himself before his brother, like a dog cowering, showing submissive to an alpha. And then he spends the night wrestling with God, this man, and with himself, if we're honest. That wrestling comes with a cost. There's pain to wrestling with who you've been and where you've been. And in the end, God gives him a new name. God perseveres. You've walked through some tough stuff, and God perseveres. That's your new name. Not supplanter, not two-faced swindler, but with God I persevere. Up until this moment at Peniel, and to the place where earlier Jacob had seen the angels ascending in the stairway to heaven. You remember that story? God had always been his grandpa's God, Abraham, his father's God, Isaac, but never his God. Faith had been something of convenience. Now, when the rubber hits the road and everything is in danger of being lost, everything he's strive for, and gotten through thick and thin and through deceit and lies. Now it's all on the line because every bill comes to collect, and Esau's coming. Esau's coming, hide your heart. Anyway, Jacob's got to face his brother. So he does a lot of wrestling, a lot of soul searching. And God says, you're not who you were, although in some ways he's always going to be Jacob and a little untrustworthy. Now you're Israel. Now you're one who's wrestling with God, and your life's not going to be the same. You're forever changed. The most powerful thing about this text that I think is he calls it Peniel. I've seen the face of God, and God spares me. And in one of the most beautiful forgiveness stories in all the Bible, Jacob meets Esau, expecting it to be his last day on earth. He expects his brother and his 400 guys to kill him and slaughter his entire family and put him off the face of the earth, because that's what he deserves. Instead, Esau runs to his brother, embraces him, kisses him in peace, and forgives him. And Jacob says, I thought I was dead to you. He doesn't say that specifically, but he says, brother, seeing your face is like Peniel, seeing the face of God. It's a beautiful mirroring of texts that in finding God and coming to peace with his brother are one and the same. Cut from the same bark. Awesome.